Hello, I'm Kristen Lee. So I've been feeling not under the weather, but my uterus has decided to kick my butt for the last about week. Oh, I gotta sneeze. Uh-oh. It's stuck. Thank you to anyone that said bless me. It'll come up randomly. Anyway, because my uterus is trying to kill me, I've been just being a sloth, like, when I can. And I've been able to relax and watch some TV series that I knew about but I forgot were coming out or had come out, and movies that have been streaming. So I think I'm gonna go with the movie first, and then I'll go with the 3 TV series. So the first movie is the new installment of the Beverly Hills Cop, with Eddie Murphy. I think it's Axel F. I don't know. Excuse me. I loved it. But my review is kind of biased because I love those movies and I grew up with them, and it had everything from the past movies. It kind of felt like a reboot. But hands down, the snowplow and the helicopter scenes were just choice. Like, I was rolling. Oh my god, they were so great. Yeah, and I don't want to give too much away, because if you're a new viewer to the series because you weren't born, or you don't know about it, the other 2 are on Netflix, and then you can watch this one. But I thought it was great. All the old cast comes back. Nobody gets unalived, because that was a big thing for me. I was like, I don't want anybody to not be, if they decide to keep going with the series. I like the additions of, oh my god, Joseph Gordon-Levitt. I hope that's the right way. If I'll fix it. But let me tell you, that man ages like fine wine. Like, he might be my next, Keanu Reeves crush, because one of my friend Bunny, she suggested that he was a lot like him, where he's a good person, but he also makes these movies where you're like, oh my gosh, he's fun to watch. I don't know. I enjoyed it a lot. I loved Eddie Murphy in it. If you know the character Serge, depending on how he says it, he's my favorite character. And Paul Reisner came back. It was a feel good movie for me, even though things blew up and there was a heist and all this other stuff going on. Well, not a heist, but like drug cartel and stuff like that. But I don't know. I really liked it. If you watched it, let me know what you thought of it. But throughout the whole thing, I was cheering and laughing, and it got excited when certain characters popped up. So that was that one. The next one was, I finally got caught up with Interview with the Vampire Season 2. I'm not going to go into depth about what I think about the series or anything like that. I think I'm going to save that for my BookTube channel, because it is one of my favorite book series, is the Vampire Chronicles. But as for Season 2, if they hadn't gotten the funding for Season 3, which I think is in the making now, they ended it beautifully. The storytelling, the plots, everything was done fantastic. I had to write everybody down. Eric Bogosian, I think is his name. plays Daniel Malloy, he's the interviewer, and they show more in this season of the original interview that was done in the 70s, and it's so cool. And the cast is just, I'm so impressed and proud as a fan of the series at who they chose and how the chemistry between the characters, whether it's a romantic, interest or not, just the chemistry with each character is fantastic. And like, Armand is played by Asad Zaman. I wrote him down. And he's so mercurial. Like, he just plays this very, you feel sad for him, but he's also very vindictive, and he is that in the books as well, but he does such a great job bringing it to screen. And he, love him. And then I this whole video would be hours long if I gushed to you how much I love Sam Reed as Lestat. He has pinned him so well. And oh my gosh, the way that they bring him back into the season is just, I loved it, because there are hints throughout the books that other characters think that Louis is losing his mind, or that, the idea of a vampire having Alzheimer's or dementia is brought up within the books, and they kind of touch on it in the first couple episodes, because Louis has this guilt that he and Claudia did, and he's having conversations with Lestat, so Sam Reed gets to come back in the beginning of the season, and he's just awesome. And then the guy that plays Louis is Jacob Anderson. He's fantastic. He is so, with the changes that they made for that character and how he plays that character, he is top, like, all my gold stars. You can have them all. And then the other thing that I liked about this season is they changed the actress for Claudia. In season 1, it was Bailey Bass, and then in season 2, they switched it to Lainey Hayes. I don't really know why, but I do like the fact that right before the series came back on, there was a disclaimer saying that they had changed actresses. Hold on one second. Okay, I'm back. So yeah, so they had changed actresses, and the young woman that played Claudia in this season, where she was awesome. She was so awesome. And I loved the fact that they brought characters that were just part of the background in the book, but they did mean something in the whole aspect of things, because in the book, Claudia and Louis go and look for other vampires. And that was one of the big fights that they would have with Lestat. Lestat would be like, look, you don't want to meet other vampires. You really just want to, build your little nest here, and that's it. You don't want to know what's out there. And they basically are these fledglings that are like, I'll do what I want. And they go and they meet different types of vampires, and they meet this like zombie type vampire, and I forgot that it happened in the book, and it's in the it was done well. So, and it kind of like triggered like, oh my god, I forgot this happened, and that they met this character that kind of shows them what they're walking into as they find other vampires. And then the theater of vampires, they did such a great job. And the plays, because they've been updated, because the whole show has updated the book, it it gives you a different aspect of what the plays could be like and how they could take their abilities and use that in their acting. And the guy that plays Santiago is Ben Daniels, and he is fantastic. I think I've said that about everybody, but I loved him. I loved him as the bad guy. I love the fact that he makes Armand accountable, and that he's bitter, and that he wants to run the coven. It's awesome. So I thought they did a great job with this season. I cannot wait for next season because it will be the Vampire Lestat's book, the beginning of that. I don't know how long we're going to keep these characters or these actors to play these characters, but they're awesome. Okay, so that was Interview with the Vampire. It's on AMC, but I think I saw it on Hulu. So if you want to do a Google search and check where the TV series is streaming, it'll be a lot better than what I did. And then the last two are both from Apple TV. I know a lot of people don't have it, or they got it with promotions with their phones or whatever, and then once the promotion was done, they don't have it anymore. I bought it for something. I think it was, I want to say it was the Ryan Reynolds and Will Ferrell Spirited? Is that what it was? The Christmas movie? Anyway, I got it then, and I've been paying for it, and I only watch it every now and then, and I forget all about it. So I figured I'd bank on some of my months that I pay for this service I don't watch. So the first series that I watched, well, not series, but the season of Sugar with Colin Farrell, I was curious about it, but I wasn't sure because Sir Colin has tricked me before. Him and Nicolas Cage, like, I'll watch the movie because they are the actor of that movie, and then I'm watching, I'm like, I am so bored. But this, I wasn't. He is a private investigator-ish. He specializes in finding missing people. And I wasn't sure if I was going to like it because it starts off as a black and white movie. And I don't do well. I fall right asleep. I get super, like, just zoned out. And then if it has that old-timey, jazzy music, I'm out. I'm out. That's how my dad used to get me to go to bed. That or Westerns with John Wayne. Anywho, but this did pick up, and Colin Farrell is John Sugar, and he gets a case of a missing girl who is part of this Hollywood family that the grandfather is like a big executive director type guy, and then, you know, he's got generations underneath him, and he hires John Sugar so that he can find his granddaughter. And it starts, you know, peeling away different layers, and it's kind of shot like Humphrey Bogart, or I'm trying to think, like those classic detective movies. It's shot like that, and he's driving a 1966 Stingray, and it's beautiful. It's not one of my favorite cars, but it is pretty. And they also do oh, my nose is so dry and itchy, sorry. It also goes to the fade to black, you know, with the big circle, and then it fades to black. So that was kind of cool. And then all of a sudden he starts like unearthing on all these layers of what happened to this girl, And there's like human trafficking, and she's a recovering addict, and all these things are kind of addressed that are part of LA culture. And I thought that was beautifully done. And it also shows, because he's very kind, and he just hopes that that little bit of kindness is what helps that person heal and move on from whatever they're in. And there's this part where he meets up with this homeless guy, and I thought maybe it was like a side project that he was trying to get this guy home. And he tells the guy, you know, hey, if you can watch my car, I'll pay you a couple $100, you know, just, and here's a phone. If anybody touches my car, if anybody looks at my car, you know, just give me a call. And the guy ends up doing it, and the guy has a dog, and the dog becomes part of the storyline. And it was just, it was, I thought it was a really nice part of the show, even though it wasn't necessary for the storyline. And then all of a sudden, you think that Sugar is dipping into substances, and then all of a sudden you find out he's not. And it took this weird turn towards the last couple episodes, and I still don't know how I feel about it. Like, I like how it was shot. I like just things that were addressed. Self-harm was addressed. Being a woman in the entertainment industry and trying to get your foot in the door and not knowing how to address certain harassments that come at you. It touched a lot of very taboo topics, but it's part of LA culture. So I thought that that was well done. And then all of a sudden you find out that he's not what we thought he was. And I'm going to leave it at that, because if any of this sounds interesting and you want to watch it, and then you find out the big reveal, then you can write to me in the comments and we can have a conversation, because I still don't know how I feel about it. I don't think that the big reveal at the end is enough to get another season. I don't know. And then, like, if he doesn't have his medicine, what happens to him? Like, I have so many questions now that I know that there was a bigger part of the story. So, I don't know. We'll find out if it ever goes to the next season. And then the show I just finished tonight was Presumed Innocent, with Jake Gyllenhaal and Ruth. Was it Ruth? Was that her name? Ruth Negga? Oh no. Hold on. Let's try this again. So this is the person. I was right. Jake Gyllenhaal is a prosecutor, and his mistress has been unalived, and he is the prime suspect. And it's about his court case with the new district attorney that wins this election, because this case comes up right before the election of his boss and this other guy. Man, I gotta sneeze again. God bless me. Oh my gosh. That was... Anyway, I can get through this. I know I can. Anyway, so this woman is unalived. He's the prime suspect. And there really isn't any evidence to show that he did or did not do it. And the hardest part for me is Jake Gyllenhaal's character is not likable. I don't like him. I don't care what happens to him. I think he's this pompous ass that just... I don't think he's ever had to have accountability. Like, he's one of those guys that this character is. And it's just... And it keeps you on edge, because his defense team doesn't really believe him, but they're defending him. And there's just different little lines and pieces throughout the whole season that you kind of pinpoint who you think it is. Like, I had it down to 3 people. I want to say the 4th episode, and there's 8 altogether. So halfway through, I was like, okay, I've got it narrowed down to 3. And I thought it was a family member. I thought it was somebody on the opposite side, the new prosecution. And then I thought maybe it was another family member for the woman that was unalived. And then we got to like episode 6 and I had it down to 2. And I'm like, okay, let's see what's going to happen. And I had pretty much ate the whole season in one day. And I did not know that it was an ongoing series. And I had to wait until today to watch the last part. And I was like, I watched this whole thing and I don't know how it ends. So now that I've watched it and I know who did it and the whys and the, you know, the little gaps that weren't filled in, it wasn't as good as Defending Jacob or my brain shot. But this one with Nicole Kidman and Hugh Grant. I've been seeing so many things with Hugh Jackman and Ryan Reynolds today because of Deadpool. Anyway, but Hugh Grant and Nicole Kidman, it's not as good as those two, but it's up there. Like, I was really impressed. And if I was Barbara, I would have tapped out. Totally would have tapped out. I would not have sat there. Like, her character has this conversation because with a lot of court cases and stuff, it's up in the air whether or not the wife is going to take the stand because of why they're there. And Barbara is just like, I am not gonna play the part and do what you want me to do. I'm just barely making it. And if they need to see anything, they just need to know that I'm there and that I'm pissed. And that's it. That's the best I can do. That's the bare minimum that I can do in that courtroom. And then it gets towards the end of the court case and she says, okay, you know, I'll take the stand and I'll be his alibi. And the defense team was like, no, you're not going to. They're like, you're not going to be able to handle all the questions that they're going to be thrown at you. So it was really good. Like, it takes a lot for me to like find the trailer, send it to friends and be like, hey, have you watched this? You should watch this. And then you should watch it with me. And then you should tell me what you think. Like, it takes a lot. So those were the shows and the movie that I watched while I've been down and out with my uterus kicking my butt. I know I have a bunch of movies that are coming out in theaters the next couple of months. I don't know whether I'm just going to do a review of theater movies and then separate them. As for streaming, I know on August 1st, I think it is, Good Girls Guide to Murder starts. I'm excited because that series was fantastic. I'm curious how I'm gonna like the show because I always thought it was in Connecticut or like some northeastern town, and then when I found out it was supposed to be in England, I'm like, totally got that, like, because there isn't any speech pattern in the book when you're reading it that sounds like an English accent. And there's cities that are mentioned that are in, I think, Connecticut or even Maine area, so that's where my brain was. And then when I found out, I was totally in the wrong country. But it would have been nice to be told that. And then there was something else coming out. And I can't remember what it was. Because Beetlejuice doesn't come out until September, but there was something else coming out in August that I really wanted to see, and I can't remember what it was. So if I think of it, I'll bring it up in my wrap-up. So let me know if you've watched any of these things. What did you think? Did you enjoy them? Would you suggest them to friends? Do you have any suggestions for me to watch? And I hope you're having a great day and a great week, and I will see you in the next one.